We've had a couple of questions about the investing.com calendar. Also, a couple of questions about the Forex Factory one. We did a video on Forex Factory as well, so make sure to check that one out if that is something that you've wondered about. So, we've had a couple of questions asking whether trading with something like the investing.com free calendar, whether we think it's a good option as opposed to many of the other options out there. Now, to be honest, there are plenty of great free economic calendars out there, like Forex Factory, like MyFXBook, like Trading Economics. So it really comes down to which one works best for you. I prefer to use the economic calendar from Metastock Zenith, just to show you guys what that one looks like. For those of you that don't know, this is basically the one that I use for Zenith. Of course, this is not a free calendar; it's a paid subscription, but it's not a must-have. Depending on the type of requirements that you have from a economic calendar. So let's quickly jump over to investing.com. I think a good place to start, like we did with the Forex Factory one, is just to take a quick look around the navigation of the calendar, where we can choose the different settings, etc. The first one, as always, is going to be the date. Now, the date option is this one over here. You can either select today, tomorrow, this week, next week, and obviously a calendar option for you to select a predetermined date range, which is very nifty. Just like Forex Factory, you can change your local time, which is important. So make sure to change your GMT to whatever your local time frame is, to make sure that you're always watching or that the data is presented in your local time. Now, reading the layout is quite simple, very simple. You have the date, obviously. On top, you have the time when it's coming out, the currency that it's expected to impact. The impact ratio, like most of the free calendars out there, take this one with a pinch of salt. It's not always going to be as accurate. Obviously, these ones are more generically generically chosen. So, if it's something like inflation or GDP, it's always going to have a high impact ratio. But depending on expectations, anticipation, the sentiment, the fundamentals, it might not always be important, as you know. So just take the impact with a pinch of salt. Then, of course, you have the actual event, so what the event is called, what that's coming up. Then you have the forecast and the prior, like most of the calendars out there. Now, what's also nifty is if you click on any one of these data points, it actually opens up a separate window and gives you a little bit more information on what exactly the event is about, like most of the calendars do. So a very, very nifty trick to get a little bit more context on the event. Also seeing a chart of the most recent trend of that data, very, very handy. And apart from that, below, you also have some news event, recent news articles that talk about this specific indicator, which is very handy. So if you have this coming up, always a good idea to just pop in, have a quick scan through these articles, see exactly what the prior info was with regards to that particular event. Now, what's also great about the calendar for me is if we just go to tools, we can see apart from just the economic calendar, they also have other economic calendars, which is very handy. So, apart from just the economic one, you also have a holidays calendar. So this will actually show you, what type of banking holidays you have coming up. Obviously, that's going to be important from a market liquidity point of view. Also very handy from a equities point of view, and of course, how that can influence currencies. Comes back to risk flows or risk sentiment is an earnings calendar. So it actually shows you what type of earnings is coming up in the week ahead. So lots of additional information on the investing.com site. And apart from the calendar, you can also set up your own portfolio, which is quite nifty as well. If you click on portfolio, you have different options. Now, the one that I've set up here basically looks at all the various or different asset classes. Equity futures is the first one, looking at all the major equity futures markets around the world. Obviously, very important from a risk sentiment point of view. We also have commodities. I've set up one for volatility as well, looking at some various volatility metrics. Keep in mind that some of these have actually been discontinued, so just keep that in mind. Also have bond yields there, spreads, and of course currencies. I set up this currency basically tracker to resemble the one that we have in Zenith. So all of that information that we have here in investing.com, all of these various asset classes and various metrics are all combined in this one sheet. So obviously that's why I prefer something like Zenith. Everything is a little bit more user friendly, so to speak. But by all means, if you can find the information for free, then use it by building your own portfolio. So also a handy trick there. So all in all, a very handy and free economic calendar, which is the investing.com one, which has many other benefits and features as well, like we've seen. Again, with most of these free calendars, it might not always be as fast as some of the paid calendars, and might not have the same type of depth in terms of features, or maybe the same type of user friendliness like something like Zenith, like we've just seen. But for those looking for a free calendar with some additional benefits, this is definitely a great option to keep in mind as well. If I didn't have access to Zenith, I probably would have use something like investing.com as an alternative. So hope that helps for all the investing.com questions. Any other questions out there, please let us know. Also for the portfolio specifically, we actually did do a video of exactly how we set this up. So for those of you that want to see that, just go to the video library in the terminal, open up the video Q&A archives, and just search there. It's either going to be investing.com, or it might be something like just search asset classes. It should be under one of those names. You can see a rundown of exactly how we set that up in investing.com as well. Any other questions, guys? Don't hesitate to let us know.